These are some of Sri Lanka's breathtaking tea estates. Tea has been grown in the country since the Victorian era. However, today a cup of tea here costs 100 Sri Lankan rupees. Tea is not the only item to witness such inflated prices. A kilo of milk powder is 1,945 rupees. A loaf of bread is 130 rupees. One egg costs 35 rupees. Rice and sugar are being sold at 290 rupees per kilo. To top it all off, a 12.5 kg cylinder costs 4,199 rupees. These prices are a result of Sri Lanka's worst ever economic crisis. Fuel shortages and rolling power cuts are making things worse. As a result of this, Sri Lanka has begun rationing food and fuel across the country, which means that the government has enforced limits on how much shops can sell and how much should be sold per person. According to reports, at one point, shops were only allowed to sell 400 grams of milk powder per individual. Last Sunday, 3 people collapsed and died while waiting in queues to secure fuel. There is no public transport because of fuel shortage. Private transport is scarce but expensive. Shortage of imports and lack of electricity supply have also led to a shortage of medicines and problems in preserving available stocks. Exams across the country have been postponed indefinitely due to lack of paper. The economic squeeze has now sparked a refugee crisis, with people fleeing the island nation. The first set of 6 refugees, which includes 3 children, was stranded near an island off the coast of Rameswaram and rescued by the Indian Coast Guard. A second group of 10, including 5 children, reached later in the night. These Tamil refugees claim they were left with no choice but to flee.
அங்கே ஃபுல்லாக பஞ்சத்தினால ஒன்றும் வேலை வாய்ப்பு அதிகமாக இல்லை, அதனால தான்
எவ்வளோ தலை கொடுத்தீங்க?
10,000
விலைவாசிகளை கூட இப்போ என் ஹஸ்பண்ட் இருக்கிறவங்களே கஷ்டப்படுறாங்க அங்கே. ஆனால் என் ஹஸ்பண்ட் இல்லை, ஆனால் 2 பிள்ளைகளோடையும் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். ஒரு பிள்ளைகளை விட்டுட்டு போகிறது, ஒரு வேலைக்கு போய் உழைச்சி பிள்ளைகளை பார்க்கணும் வளர்க்கணும்னு நினச்சா கூட எங்கள் தாய் தப்ப எனக்கு அங்கே இல்லை. உறவு இருந்தாலும் உறவால் ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பாடுபட்டுட்டேன், திரும்பிட்டேன்.
அரசியல் மாவெல்லாம் விலைகளுக்கு அதிகமாக கூட்டுறாங்க, அதால் எங்களுக்கு அவருக்கும் உழைக்க இல்லாது. அதால் தான் இங்கே வந்தாங்க. அங்கே எத்தனை பேர் இங்கே வந்திருக்காங்க, இவ்வளோ பஞ்சங்கள் இந்த பக்கம் வந்திருக்காங்க. அதால் தான் நாங்கள் எல்லாம் வாழையிலான்னு சொல்லி இங்கே பக்கம் எல்லாம் வராங்க. சாப்பாடு ஒன்றும் கொண்டு வரல நாங்கள், அதால் நைட்லேருந்து சாப்பிடலை. காலையிலையும் சாப்பாடு பச்சை தண்ணி இல்லாமல் அவருக்கும் பால் கொடுக்காமன்னு இருந்தோம் நாங்கள்.
While the economic crisis has thrown the lives of the common man out of gear, it is the labourers and daily wagers who have been hit the hardest, as they have been left jobless and with no means of survival or access to basic necessities.
Well, this is the huge problem for working people, because whether you take bread, milk powder, both have almost doubled in the last 6 to 9 months in price. Rice has gone up by anywhere from 50 to 75%, depending on the variety of rice. And rice is our staple. So in that kind of a context, there's already a huge amount of suffering, and the worry is that this is going to continue.
Inflation in February hit a record high of 17.5%, the highest since 2015. Food inflation touched 24.7% in February. Non-food inflation hit 11%. The rupee is currently trading at about 275 per US dollar. The pandemic, a foreign exchange crisis, heavy Chinese debts, and a failure to shift the country's agriculture to 100% organic have all contributed to the crisis. Because of poor policies, Sri Lanka's public debt is projected to have risen from 94% in 2019 to 119% of the GDP in 2021. Foreign exchange reserves have also dried up. This year, Colombo has to repay a loan of $6 billion in installments, but there's only $2 billion in reserves. The country does not have money to import essential goods. India has now extended a $1 billion credit facility to help Sri Lanka tide over the crisis. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has also said that the nation will seek an International Monetary Fund bailout. News reports have quoted intelligence officers in Tamil Nadu as saying around 2,000 refugees are likely to arrive in the coming weeks. Tamil Nadu witnessed a similar exodus from Sri Lanka during the peak of the civil war in 1989, which continued until the war came to an end in 2009. Refugees are willing to pay around 10,000 to 50,000 rupees to enter India illegally. A federal report.